Hey everyone, I'm back. I decided to, just before I go back to the other parts, I decided to start on a tutorial using Derwent Inktense, just because I wanted to add that into the channel and I guess start that and then go back and continue on finishing other parts and continuing other parts, and then I can sort of start flipping through a few different things. The book we're using to do this is Hannah Karlzons' Magical Dawn from Gibbs Smith Publishers. This is the English version. As you know, I do have the other non-English version, but I'm not currently using that. I've decided on this one-page little flower edition here, and I'm thinking, since it's coming up into autumn here, I'm thinking I'm going to do a kind of autumn-inspired flower / background and using the Inktense, and this will show people more how I actually achieve my layers and depths, I guess. And so yeah, we're just using Derwent Inktense Pencils, and I've already picked out a few colours. That's not to say they won't change as I go, but we shall see about how all of that goes. And I forgot to pick out a yellow, would you believe? Clumsy klutz. So yeah, yellow will work. So yeah, I just thought I'll start up hard on the Inktense, and then I can start working back to like Millie Marotta's Lie and finishing the Joanna Basford This Book Belongs To page, all of those ones that I've already started, the Fairy Tales colouring book, and just work my way back through them one part at a time kind of thing, like I guess switch between, have maybe Inktense one day and then something else another day, blah blah blah. Rub the excess colour off that one. But yeah, so I still haven't got it off. So yeah, what we're going to start with is our flowers. I'm thinking some sort of galaxy or autumn inspired, like doing like a galaxy background on this, possibly with autumn colours. I will have to see if that works, just because of the stars and the beads and stuff like that. It may change later on, because we're going to start with our flowers and then go from there, see what type of background we do. So I'm going to start with, I think, this upper flower, and this may be, because they're so large, this may be all we get done in this part, we shall see, just by the time we add in our layers and that. And we're going to start with our Deep Violet 0760 from Derwent Inktense, and we're going to come in and use our Deep Violet for our shadows kind of area, and we want to sort of follow these line sort of areas too. So thinking about where our shadows are coming from, because there would be shadows here, so yeah, I might I'll work it out as I go. I'm just trying to think, because I'm not quite sure where I would probably add shadows along these flower petal lines, so I might just do that. I've also trying to have music going in the background again. It suits, just because it takes a lot of editing time off kind of thing. And we're just coming in with our Deep Violet. We will probably add in more of this colour and shadows on the top once we're done, but right now we just want to add these colours in. And hang on, I'm gonna have to, oh no, it's recording, doesn't matter, I deleted the photos, I'm losing my mind. So yeah, we're just bringing these sorts of things along here. We are going to bring it up a bit more once we've followed some of these lines. And then add in some lighter tones for the shading kind of thing. So just some of these areas we want to add in a bit of lighter area for when we blend it all together. Even though it doesn't matter quite as much being watercolour, but I still like to just do these light touches. I'm hoping you can still see it. Try and deepen up where some of these lines are we want to, because those are sort of part of our shadow areas, so we want them quite sort of deep. I am trying to have a piece of cardboard behind this just to see if that works a bit better than having the paper. So yeah, deepening up these areas along where the main shadow depths are. I'll probably even have some in here with these deep shadows, just because the petal's sort of folding over the other. And just add in a bit of lighter areas there. Continue adding in some lighter shadows here. Make sure you deepen that area up. Yeah, that's just the one petal, so we won't have the shadows up along the top area of that bit, because that one's coming down here. As for down here, because from what I've done there, we'll probably have light sources coming. Just thinking about that. It's kind of almost like it's shining head on, I'm thinking, with the way I've done it. So we're probably going to focus with like our light is shining directly at it kind of thing, not from any particular angle. So what I'm going to do here, just because it does fold under, I'm going to bring some purple up into just this part, and then just add in some light sort of textures. And we're pretty much going to follow around like that for all these petals on this flower. And then I'll probably just do that quietly. If I think of something else to add in, I'll add it in, and then we'll probably come in with our next colour tones. So yeah, I just really wanted to focus on something with autumn colours in it for autumn. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you back here soon, I'm sure, once they've, shall we say, done some of these parts and we're ready to bring in our next colours. But I'll keep you here whilst I colour all these sections and do it so you can follow along. So Inktense also, just something to go by, they can feel a bit sort of sticky kind of thing, just with the way when you're trying to place them on, sometimes it kind of feels a bit sticky to me. But I find if you want some different depths, you can add them in again, which we probably will add some more of the depths in later once we've shall we say sorry, just checking that it's not bending the page too much, and it's not, or denting the page. But we'll probably add more shadow depths on top, but right now I'm just trying to get our base foundation layers down at least, so if it doesn't work out quite as deep in the beginning as to how you like it, we will be able to achieve that later on as we add more layers on top of the flower. So yeah, I hope this helps you out. And yeah, you enjoy it. Because I love doing these things. And like usual, I still am adding a bit of lighter purple shading between kind of thing. With this part, where these beads are, we're going to just have a bit of purple behind them because obviously they're hanging onto the petals and they'll be creating some shadows behind it since we're going head on with our light. And we're doing just our lighter shadow area around the darker with those two. sorry, just keep checking. It sometimes feels like the pages are bending inwards when they're not, so I keep checking that at times. Loosening up my hands because this new way that I'm trying to learn to colour kind of cramps things and does that because I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way of being able to see what's being done a bit more, but it does cause cramps and stuff in my hand, shall we say, and so it makes it a little harder to hold the pencil and I don't want to start shaking and stuff. So if you hear clicking or whatever, it's probably just me loosening cramps out of my hand. It's going to be hard to try and learn a completely different way to colour though, compared to how I've always done it. But I can see the advantages for this, for doing these, if I can do it. So, yeah. So keep working on it, I guess. We're just going around those circle bits. I'm not quite sure what colours I'm going to do them yet, but we'll work it out, I'm sure. Talk you through what we'll do around these tendril area bits shortly. I'll just finish some of these bottom petals, and then we'll work out, then we'll sort of go through how we're going to do it in those bits with our shadows and stuff and the other petals and do that. I think it's coming out okay so far. And I should probably get my cloth. Now that I'm getting more likely to possibly rest my hand on the colours that have already been done. Like eventually this won't rub off at all and you won't need to worry about it so much, but in the meantime it still can rub off whilst it's not dry kind of thing, if that makes sense. Make sure we got our petals, our shadows where the petal overhang is. And some shadows down here. Some shadows just down around this back area up here. And now our last little sort of, well, one of our last little petal areas, we've got a couple on the side here to do as well for these front petals, which I'll have to pause the video shortly or the battery will cut out again. Oh, not the battery, the recording time. It's a possibility of the battery doing that too, because I'm too infamous with forgetting those things when I'm doing this. Lighter tones. Tones where the petal overhang is, a dark tone. I also find at times you may have to kind of hold the paper down so that you don't bend through the tooth. That's why I keep checking at times, because I feel like maybe I'm bending through the tooth of the paper, but it doesn't seem like it so far, fortunately. So yeah, just might need to hold it down flat at times with your hands as you're doing it, because these hardcover books seem to like to spring back and they don't, shall we say, sit properly, in my opinion. Like it's nice having hardcover books, but yeah, they don't always sit properly in my feelings with them. But I do still like the hardcover books anyway, so yeah. I'm just going to turn my fan up quickly because it's quite warm here still, even though it's in March now. So what I might do is, before we start these side petals and get them done, ready to work on this top sort of area, I might actually pause the video here just because it's getting closer to the time when the video will cut off, and I will be back with you shortly. So we're back, just still continuing with our deep violet, 0760, and we're going to continue around to these side ones. We're going to need to make sure that our card is right tucked into that spine. Also going to have to try and, we're not going to be able to fully get into this because the images do go right into the spine, and that is kind of a bummer because it makes it very hard to pull the images in close to the spine, particularly with pencil. I may be able to, the thing though with Inktense that is good is though that once I have a wet brush, I may be able to actually, shall we say, brush those areas of colour into the spine areas. So hopefully that'll work out because I've done that in the past. But yeah, otherwise it's very difficult if you're just using normal pencil colours to get into the spine at all with the way this book has been laid out. That's another thing with the hardcover too, is the fact you can't, well, if people like to pop the spine or whatever, they can't. I'm not that type of person, but yeah, there is no easy way of getting into the spine with hardcover books. There isn't. I'm feeling really wonky with this one. I'm just going to try switching this angle, shift those pencils out. I'm going to try shifting this because I might feel more stable doing it this way. And I'm going to have no chance whatsoever of getting into that spine. So, we can try and get as deep as we can, but we can't even fully get our card into there. It's that sort of embedded in the spine. We do need that. But hopefully we'll be able to wash our colours into those spine areas we can't get to with the pencils. Hopefully, we'll just have to see how it goes. It may not be possible, but we can only try. So I am struggling here to get into those areas right now. And I'm getting pencil colour all over the next door page because of it. So I'm just going to pull it in. If I can, I'm just going to try and wash the pencil colour into those areas when we're doing that. Obviously trying to put the pencil colour in there with the pencil is not working, and you're just getting the colour tone all over the next page, which you might not want on the next page. So yeah, that is one thing that I will find very hard, that I do find very hard with these books, is the fact that you cannot easily get into the spine at all. Like, there is areas here I am really going to struggle getting into, like this area that I've just started outlining now. And the fact that the card won't stay shoved in the spine does not help, and the fact I'm getting purple pencil all over the next page doesn't help. So, and I can't shall we say, lay it down flat how I'd like either. So I'm just swapping angles here, trying to work out the best way to do this, because yeah, it really is a struggle getting into spines, and I'm sure many of you have probably experienced that. And I don't know if that was meant to go on that top bit, but oh well, that was meant to go on the other side, but oh well, it's there now. It is. So yeah, you'll notice I keep adjusting the card back into the spot that I'm working on, and I'm trying to shove it flat as much as possible, which is quite hard to do. And I seem to be going over some of these areas or lines, just because I am finding it so difficult to sort of work around that spine. So that is one thing that I do find very difficult with Hannah Karlzon's books, is just if the image goes right into the spine, you're going to be stuffed basically getting the whole image coloured in that spine area, because it shoves in so deep that you cannot get there, and you end up with colours on the next page that you may not want. And as with Inktense, it's pretty much impossible to rub out, I've discovered. So yeah. I don't know if you can see it, but just in this part here, there's purple colour transferred. So I'm going to try and pretty much work as close as I can get without trying not to get too much colour on, shall we say, those spine areas, which I keep doing on the next page, and I keep getting them on the areas on the next page where I don't want it, which is kind of frustrating. And then I'm just going to try and work those in with the paintbrush and hope I don't get too much on the other page as well, because I don't want to taint what I might want to do on the next page. I don't. And this, I guess the other possibility with continuing to the next page is continuing the background from this image to that image, but it doesn't really match or work in. So yeah, I'm just going to try and avoid getting colour stains from this page as much as possible on the next. And I'm getting some purple markings rubbing off from trying to press into those areas with the lead. I can see it on the white paper when you're doing it. So yeah, just I guess pretty much it's do your best in those areas kind of thing. At least the majority of this will be all covered up with the smudge markings and that from the pencil stuff that's coming off once we get to that bit. That'll be something, that's another thing at least with Inktense, is the fact that you can cover up when the pencils decide to smudge to the white of the paper. So now we're coming up to these upper areas. We're still going to keep working on it on this angle, I think, just because it's a little easier for these upper areas. We may swap it around the other way again once we come to the other spot. So first things first is trying to work in close-ish to that spine again, making sure your cardboard or paper or whatever is shoved right up as close as you can get it to the spine. Trying to push the other page back away from that area, and then working your pencil in down the line where the shadows kind of go from the other petals. Bringing that in. and then we're bringing in our light little sort of shadow areas. I think with these spots I'm not going to worry particularly about putting the purple outlines around them because there'll probably be other colour areas that'll go around them. But yeah, just really trying to shove your page back, flatten this one, and add in your light shades now. It's actually quite hard to do that. Like, I can feel my wrist and my arm aching from the amount of pressure I'm holding, trying to get that to kind of work, shall we say. But that there then is the spine till we need to bring in our other colours. So it's a relief. Well, we're close to having the spine done actually. I just realised there's another spot up here. And I just mussed that up completely there a bit because I went way out of where I was intending to go with that purple line. My arms sort of cramped and stuff like that, and it's also not being used to working this way with the pencil colour and trying to keep it. Sorry about that, camera battery died again. I was pretty much just saying about to do with my hand cramping and stuff. Just bear with me while I try and, shall we say, learn this new way of holding the pencil and stuff, because I seem to keep wobbling at times, and at times I go in areas where I don't want to, and it's actually quite difficult completely changing the way that you have always done it. So, but at the same time I can see the advantages for the videos and for you guys, so just please be patient with me while I do work on learning how to hold the pencil this new way, because it is very awkward for me and it feels very awkward, and I feel very self-conscious doing it this way. So yeah, but hopefully in the long run I will get the hang of it, but in the meantime I seem to keep making the odd mistakes or slips of the hand or any of that. Even if I don't say it, it sometimes happens and it's annoying to me because I want to do it just the old way, and like, people have told me don't worry about it, just do it the way you do it. But at the same time it's kind of like, I can see the advantage though of, shall we say, doing it a slightly different way, because it means other people can see more of what I'm doing and how I'm actually doing it, rather than my hand covering the whole video, because that does kind of get annoying to me. But it is just, shall we say, really hard to learn to do it that way. So yeah, what we're now going to do though is we're still using our deep violet, and we started bringing in some shadows in this area. Because this one is on the petal, we're going to bring the circle bit around the outside of that one, just because being on that outside the petal, it what I was planning on doing with like these little sparkly bits or whatever they are is basically go around them with whatever colour this section they're in, kind of thing. And then with these, I guess they're like flower antenna or something, and my hand was in the way, sorry. It's so hard not to do it that way, and it feels so awkward doing it this way. But yeah, with these flower antennas, basically we're just highlighting our pencil around them, bringing it down. In this spot, it would probably be fairly dark, right down the very bottom. And then we're just highlighting around those and bringing our shadows up in those locations. So it may not be complete dark purple. Like, I'm not going to do completely dark purple, but I am going to add a bit of a light tone of purple between that to bring the other colours down into, kind of thing. See, like this one too would have a bit of a purple ring around it. I feel tense doing the pencils this way because I feel like so much like I'm going to screw things up doing it this way. I do. Spot there is bending the tooth a little bit, I can feel it. So right down in this deepest spot I'm going to do the deep purple, but other spots I'm going to add in some lighter areas. Basically following all your outlines here and adding in just some lighter shadows in these parts between these little tendril sort of areas. Got a light area down here. I guess the reason why I'm tense about doing it this way is because I'm worried I'm going to completely screw everything up because it's not my normal way of doing stuff. But at the same time I can see the advantages of trying to do it this way, but it's just, yeah, hard. Well, hard for me anyway. I've always coloured with my hand right over the image, so yeah. Just please bear with me whilst I do that. I'm sure with time I'll feel less self-conscious about it and more confident in doing it this way. It's just going to take time and practice. Sorry, my hands are all cramped up from this way of doing it. I'm going to keep going with our outlines now. But I guess the advantages of trying to learn a different way of doing the pencil and stuff too is the fact that then I'm able to produce better quality videos and you guys will be able to see more, and it'll be more of an advantage for me being able to actually show how I do these things with the tutorials and stuff. So it'll, in the long run, I guess, kind of doing it this way will actually be an advantage, not just for you guys but for me, because I'm able to produce better content on this channel. So I guess I should be thinking of it the positive way rather than negative way kind of thing, because there are advantages to learning this stuff to me. There's no need to be self-conscious about it. It's something I decided that I wanted to work on, so yeah. So yes, now we're just going to bring in our shadows around the outside of this petal. And just down around all these little areas. Dark purple into these, into that spot. Bit of dark purple here. Bring this up and around. Well, I guess in the long run I'm doing it because it will allow me to provide better content and better videos, which is what I want to do. I want to improve with things and do stuff like that on this channel. So yeah, it'll help me out in the long run in that aspect. So it'll be worth it. And I guess if I majorly stuff anything up, it'll show that I'm still human. Gonna do these lines, do our light shading once I've got all these main shadow areas coloured. Bring it around our petal here. We may not get the full flower done, I'm not sure, I'll have to see. Just going by time, we'll see how time goes. Hopefully the second battery doesn't die because I currently don't have the space to charge the first battery. So fingers crossed the second battery will last us out. might not even do outlines on some of those circles, I'm not sure. But some of them where you got the lighter purple in them, I'm not worrying too much about doing a dark purple outline around those, because I will be bringing some reds and stuff into that area, so they'll probably more be like a red highlight kind of thing. So just don't worry too much about that sort of part, shall we say. I'm only highlighting the ones that are directly on the lines or directly in certain areas kind of thing, that are touching with our purple lines. So now it looks like we're on to our last petal with the purple. Going by this. So pretty much we're just doing the same as what we did, except try not to go over the line like I just did. If I may say so. Because I went over the line into the antenna sort of thing, so into the flower, proboscis or something, or whatever it's called. Then, and that's probably partly because my hands are kind of cramping a bit. I'm just trying to get the cramps out a bit before I can do too much more, because I tend to make more mistakes and go over the lines and dent the tooth of the paper and stuff more when hands are cramping. I'll just say now, I don't recommend colouring whilst your hands are actually cramping, because you do tend to make a lot more mistakes, and you do tend to really dent and bend the tooth of the paper, because I've done it. So yeah, just whenever your hand starts cramping, I recommend trying to work it out before continuing, which was what I was just doing. So it's just a little piece of advice there from what I do with things. Hopefully that'll help. And if you are trying to change the way you colour with your pencil too, I guess that would cause even more cramps, because it's positions you're not used to colouring in or being in. So yeah. So that's the last of our deep violet. I'm just going to pause here for a minute, get a drink, and then I will come back and we will continue with our next colour. See you soon. So we're back. We might not get all of this. I may try to just get the colour pencil in, and then next time we may do the water and then adding layers over the top, just because of the fact I was just looking at the video, we've only got about 55 minutes left. I may try adding an extra time. I may download what I've got to the computer and then do continue, and it'll depend on camera batteries too, but yeah, so we'll just see how we go. Hopefully we can get the watercolour bit done, ready for adding other layers next time. I guess we'll see how time goes and how long I continue the video for. So next we're going to come in with Chilli Red 0500 in our Inktense, and we're going to bring that as usual over all colours. So, and this one doesn't seem quite as sticky as the deep violet pencil was. It seems like that is one thing I've noticed with some of those pencils. They seem to shall we say, vary with how well the pencil goes on. Some seem kind of sticky, others just go on smooth as butter. It seems like some are just easier to use out of them, almost. I don't know if that kind of makes sense, but yeah. Oops, sorry, I just bumped the table. But yeah, this one seems to be, it doesn't feel like it's sticking to the page like the other was. That's all I'll say. Yeah. Just making sure you're adding the light areas, which this is going on a lot easier than the deep violet as well for our lighter areas. So yeah, that is one thing that I know. Some pencils, pencils in the same pack, some may go on easier, some may sort of stick, some may not work as well. It seems to be quite a sort of mixed bunch sometimes. Like, that's not to say they're bad or anything, they still look good once they've got the water and that on them. But yeah, does seem to be a bit of a difference sometimes between the different colours. So we're just bringing in our reds and stuff here. Well, our Chilli Red. And what I looked at when I decided on these colours was pretty much, hang on, give me a minute and I'll show you. Pretty much I have my art diary here, and because the colours on the ends of the Derwent Inktense pencils aren't necessarily totally reliable, I actually have sitting in my diary an art chart showing the pencils when they're being wet, so the exact colour of the pencil as they're wet, and I tend to go through and choose by that. So this one here is kind of our Chilli Red, which is like a sort of a deeper red, which is what I wanted. So yeah, that's how I like to do it anyway. I don't tend to rely on the tips of the Derwent pencils, because times when I have, it hasn't been exactly the colour I wanted. So yes, we'll just basically keep shading over the top of all these areas, adding in our lighter tone, and just, yeah. Continuing on with adding this colour layer. That area up there probably wasn't meant to be a red part, but I guess it is now. Red or purple part. Oh well. As said, it is now. direction of this quickly. Here's where we'll put the red around our little circle there. So just pretty much whatever I'm highlighting it with is just whatever colour sort of goes in that area kind of thing. Whatever I'm putting around it. That's pretty much it. I don't know that it's looking much like an autumn flower yet, but I guess we'll see as we go. It's not quite yet anyway. Maybe it will more once we add more colours. Sort of looks more like a creepy flower to me at the moment. It does. just going to swap the direction again quickly. May end up going over the hour and 48 minutes that we've got available on this card this time. And starting to think. Guess we'll see. But that's how I'm starting to feel it's going to turn out. Which I don't mind. So yes, we're just adding in our Chilli Red shades all through this tub. Okay, now into this part, we're going to have to swap directions again. So basically I'm just swapping directions depending on which way feels easier for me to colour the image. So if you need to swap the direction a different way, feel free to do so if it's easier for you to do it that way. Just bringing your shading in as close as you can get it to the edge there. As said, we'll try and blend that in with our paintbrush when we're wetting the whole thing. Oops, I don't think the red was meant to be up in that area. Oh well, it's there now. It is. Can always just make it seem like that, well, as you see there, because I haven't done the shading there, it looks like that's just fine kind of thing, in my opinion anyway. Now these little circle bits here, we go around with the red. down to that crease sort of area. Yep, got a bit of red on the paper again on the other side. But as said, it's so hard to get into these sort of spine areas. There's a little curvy petal area under there that is impossible to get into in that spot. It really is. It's just too embedded in the spine with the image to be able to do anything to get to it. So I don't know if you can sort of see that or not, but yeah, it's just right embedded in the spine, which is something that makes it very hard to finish colouring certain images at times. And why I don't use these like watercolours, why I use them as pencils first, it's just because I find I get a better result if I colour things as if it was with a pencil in the first place. And whoops, I went over things again. Try not to go over things too much, but you can't always seem to avoid it, from what I've learnt. Sometimes you will go over things that you don't want to, that's skinny and hard to colour, like in these little antenna things. I've started getting colours in those that I don't necessarily want in there, but it's kind of hard to avoid it sometimes, particularly if you're doing something that causes your hand to cramp or anything like that. And I've got some red colour smudging all the way down into these other petals and background areas. So yeah, it's another thing I guess look out for. But yeah, basically I guess I think I said it in a recent video, if you go over a teeny area, best you can do, I find, is just try and work it in and cover it up as best you can, because I find erasers are nearly useless with the artist coloured pencils. But that's just my opinion, because I've had no luck whatsoever erasing anything with the artist coloured pencils with the rubber. It's pretty much impossible and just wrecks the tooth of your paper and the image you're doing, because you still end up with the colour underneath anyway. So I don't see the point of erasing things these days, and pretty much don't do it. I don't use an eraser really, even though I have one. I'll have to pause the video again shortly because it's going to come to the 30 minutes. So I'll pause it here quickly and then we'll come back and continue with these last petals. I'm not sure if we're going to get all of it done in this video. I guess if we don't, we can keep working on it next video. Either way, I will see you shortly. So hey everyone, I'm back. This may require me downloading the card and then continuing, just because we're down to 29 minutes recording time. We'll see how we go. Just taking a little bit of time, as I find better to take your time than to rush stuff, because then I find you're a lot happier with what you end up with in the end. So yeah, I'm just going to bring a red circle thing around this one here. And And we're just keeping on going with our Chilli Red 0500 here from the Derwent Inktense. And we're just bringing it down into all our colours as we usually do. Red circle around that. Another petal down. I'll be back in a minute. I just thought I'm gonna go and charge the camera battery in my bedroom. I'm gonna put it on the charger there in case I do need to come back and keep recording, excuse me. So I'll be back 1 minute. And we're back. I've got that charging in my bedroom now. I just decided in case I need to continue the thing, maybe I should have it on the charger in my bedroom elsewhere. I'm kind of in an old house, so it doesn't have many plug points, shall we say. So pretty much that's why I didn't have any plug points out here to put it into. So yeah. I'm gonna bring this around in here. Whoops, I just landed my foot on my dog's toy. Oops, going over the lines a bit. keep going over the lines. To our final petal. Well, once we've done the light shadows on this part, which I almost forgot. Just attempt to sharpen this, even though I'm reluctant to because it's not totally blunt yet, but the way I'm doing it, it's kind of making it hard to colour because I keep going over the lines because there's no point to the thing, and it just seems to be making it harder to achieve what I want whilst doing it. And there we go, we're done with our Chilli Red. So now what I think I'm going to come in with is Poppy Red 0400. Continue that. I'm just working some cramps out of my hands quickly. So we're coming in now with Poppy Red 0400, as I said. And we're bringing that just over all the colours again. think when we do the second layer on this one, I think I'm going to bring some black shadows into it. And we'll see, or maybe some more purple. We'll work it out at that time, just because it seems to be like I still want to try and do autumn tones if I can, and the reds still are autumn tones, but it almost seems kind of like it's a dark and creepy kind of thing at the same time. Dark and creepy flower. It does. Seems more like I was looking at autumn colours, and I know they're purples and reds and stuff like that, but this kind of looks quite creepy to me. But that's just my opinion anyway. But I like it at the same time, it's quite pretty. I quite like how it's coming out. I kind of want to do reddy purples anyway for autumn colours. I know it doesn't have that much purple, but the deep violet will hopefully show out a bit more, but the reds still work anyway for autumn colours. They definitely do. Might add in some blacks afterwards, we'll see, to do with the just deepening the shadows and where the areas go, we'll see. Some of these little, shall we say, folded over petal areas are sort of getting a bit, how do I say it, like enfolded in the shadows because they're so small, and as I blend more colours into them, and they're kind of so small that you're not able to get all the colour depths you may want in them exactly, if that makes sense. Just basically small areas don't fit as many colours as other areas, so yeah, that's pretty much what I'm meaning. may have to stop and continue, download the footage off the card and then continue it, just because of the fact that we are almost out of time, and as you can tell, we're nowhere near finished the flower. We're nowhere near finished doing the pencils, colours, and we're nowhere near starting the Inktense thing, but I find Inktense does seem to take quite a while working with them, but it's worth it with the end result. But then every pencil takes a while to work with it, and if you have time and patience, the end result can come out looking awesome, in my opinion. This red really works in with that Chilli Red. I'm glad I did it. I was actually considering leaving out one of these reds, but I'm really glad that I left it in because it's really working out well and turning out with the reds as sort of colours I wanted. It's not really, you can't really see the purple anymore, but I kind of was thinking like the reddish purple colours, but I may add some black into those shadows, or I may add some more deep violet in. There is, I'm sure I can work out ways of, shall we say, adding that stuff back in. I'm sure I can. Like, you can still see the shadows in there, and the shadows are still quite clear. But then I guess autumn colours can include all different types of reds. The purples may not be an obvious purple kind of thing, so it's not necessarily like doing the wrong thing, and with creative license you can change it up however you want. you can. Yeah, I was kind of thinking autumn colours, but I think now what I'm going to say here is I'm just going to go with the flow, see what colours I feel like works with it, and I'm just not going to, shall we say, choose a topic from now on, because I seem to do completely against what I've decided on previously. So yeah, I think pretty much what I'm going to do from now on is just basically, shall we say, just not choose a particular colour scheme or topic or anything, and just go with the flow, because that's what seems to work best with me, and it's what's happening here anyway. Even though I was trying to do certain things, going with the flow, it's completely changed from what I had in mind. So yeah, I'm just not going to choose particular topics anymore and just go with the flow. Use I guess you could say kind of what my mind or heart tells me to use, kind of thing. There I am. And I'm just going to pause it there quickly because we're nearly out of time. I'm going to download these to my computer, and then I'm going to come back and, shall we say, continue on this image. So we will be back shortly. So hey everyone, I'm back to continue on with this part. So we're continuing in with our poppy red here with the Inktense, and what we're doing, we're sort of just continuing over all these other red layers in the current image and just adding in light shades. So yeah, we'll just keep adding these in. We'll probably, once we do this, once we get this, and I'm probably going to add in one more colour. I'm thinking possibly a white, but I'm not sure. I may add in a bit of a fuchsia colour instead. I'm going to work that out when I get to it, shall we say. I'm just going to add in a bit of light red there. I'm going to decide on that once we get to that, as to if I add in the white or if I add in a bit of fuchsia. And once we do that, we'll probably add in the waters, probably with glazing or second layers on top. We may do that next time, we may do it this time. I'm yet to work it out, just because it's getting later in the night, and so I may head to bed and just do it in the next part, kind of thing. We'll, I guess, work it out at the time, or decide at the time. So as I say, basically I follow just how I feel about things at the time, kind of thing. And I don't want to make this too overly long. But yeah, it's going to be longer as it is because of the fact that it was taking a while to do each of the different layers that we needed to continue the video, and I didn't want to just end it off with the flower unfinished. So yeah, because this will be basically what we'll do for each of the flowers probably. But yeah, so we'll keep going on that bit, and yeah, we will talk again once we're to the next colour, I guess. Unless something else comes up in the meantime that I think I should say about. There we're coming up to our spine again here, which is very hard to get into, so hopefully we'll be able to get enough colour to, shall we say, get it in far enough that it doesn't look like it's sticking out due to the open, or, well, not the open spine, but the fact that the spine is pretty much impossible to get into. It is an extremely complex job to get into it in this book, I've found, or in any of the hardcover colouring books. Even some paperbacks can be extremely hard to get into the spine, so it's kind of usually you end up with the part of the image not coloured because it's too far into the spine, shall we say, and so you can't get into the spine, and as a result you can't properly finish the image and all of that, I guess, which I'm sure everyone here has experienced. I'm just going to swap the direction again. I'm just pushing the spine away from the pencil again, even though I've still got some of the pencil colours I don't want on that other page because of the fact the spine is so hard to get into and push it away from, so you kind of can't avoid getting the pencil colour on the opposite page, which is kind of a bummer. It would be nice if there was a way to more easily get into the spines of the books, shall we say. I'm just trying to jam that cardboard right up there so that I don't have this weird bend mark in it, but it's being extremely contrary at the minute, staying up there. And I keep accidentally moving the tripod, sorry. Just realised I was bumping the tripod trying to put it up in there. I was probably rubbing colour off onto my hand because I forgot to use my cloth. I'm just trying to shove that page back here. Whoops, I almost had the spine under split a bit there. I'll just make sure it's focused. I'm just really trying to get into these areas without getting, whoops, don't break the spine of the book, Nino. That is something I do not want to do. I just heard the spine crack slightly. Trying to get into this area, and I do not want to break the spine of the book, so yeah. Listen, do not try pushing the spine too far to be able to get into it and do what you want. I guess it's the lesson there. I just don't like that I'm sort of getting the colour on the other pages. But you'll see now too, these pages are sort of, shall we say, getting bent up where they could be coloured due to having to force it back against that area so much where it bends, which is kind of frustrating too. So yes, I'm just hoping I didn't damage the spine or anything in the book then trying to do that. Fingers crossed I didn't, because I don't like damaging my books. I won't even pull pages out of my books to hang on my walls. It's just something that I don't like to do. I've had people suggest it and it's like, but I don't want to pull the books apart. So yeah. Fingers crossed it all sort of, I guess, comes out okay with and isn't damaged, is my hope. If you see white spots in it, that doesn't matter with these ones because the water will take those out completely once you add the water in. It will. I guess it would in some ways be nice if they could design a hardback book or a paperback book that was actually easy to get into the spine if they did decide to put images right into the spine. Because the way it is, it makes it extremely hard to have the thing in there, and then when you actually look at it and see the white spine bit down the middle, it makes it look a little unfinished in my opinion. In my opinion, anyway. I don't know that other people will agree with that. Let me know your thoughts. But yeah, for me, I don't like the unfinished look it gives it when you can't get into the spine to finish the spine. And I know I've had times where I've almost popped the spine of a book trying to get into it, and I don't want to do that because it wrecks your book, kind of thing. Not everyone feels that way. I know a lot of people actually do pop the spine to be able to get into those areas, but I'm not a person who likes doing that. I'm a little too picky. I guess I am. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to fill it in. As we do the watercolour, we'll be able to push some of the colour into those areas to make them look finished. It's one advantage about using the watercolour pencils, I guess. Or Inktense pencils, which are watercolour too, but yeah. I'm sure you get what I'm meaning anyway. But that is sort of a pet peeve of mine when I can't get into the spine and do the full image, because of the fact that they've kind of blocked off the spine, shall we say, because they've shoved the image right into the spine, not really caring if you can or can't colour that bit. But yeah, what can you do about it? You can't really do anything. You just have to live with it how it is and try and work around it, and if you can't do it, I guess you just have to leave it white in those areas. But yeah, I'd be happy to hear other people's thoughts about that side of things too. Although I'm betting I won't be the only one alone in that aspect. Gonna have to cover that spot there because I went over it too much with the red colour. I hate when I do that. It always annoys me to no end when I accidentally do that and I have to colour over a spot where I actually wanted the spot to stand out because I have gone too much over it with actually colouring the other colours. There's another one there that's close to being nearly too covered. There's a couple that have gotten the red in them and it just, yeah. As you all know, it bugs me when I go over the lines, but then everyone does it, so I guess it's kind of like, well, what can you do about it? That's life. Yes, you go over the lines, but then you just have to find a way to work around it and work it in and use your mistake that you've done, I guess. Then if you use an eraser, try to erase it out, but I don't use an eraser because I find they're useless right now. Whenever I try to use them these days with my artist pencils or whatever, it's just, yeah, it's not even worth trying. Just doesn't erase the full thing anyway, but also the fact that, well, yeah, it wrecks the tooth of the paper doing it. Usually it doesn't take all the colour off, so it's like, well, as I've said many times, what's the point? So now I've missed doing some red in this spot. I think what I'm going to come in with now is actually the Fuchsia 0700. And I'm going to bring this in, but I don't know that I'll take it over all the red. I think I'll just sort of bring it in on these lighter sort of spots, shall we say. I'm hoping this will show out where the light areas go, kind of thing, or where the light shadows are. Probably what I'm going to quickly do is just test how that looks. So when we're coming in, we want sort of not a very wet pencil because we don't want to bleed the colour through to the back, and we just sort of want to bring it in just lightly into these areas, kind of thing. Just try not to go over into the other areas because once it dries it's permanent. And we're just dabbing off our brush on the back of my hand each time I kind of go into it. I'm sort of, shall we say, trying to use some of the purple areas first. You can't really see much where the light tone is, it seems. Probably what we can do to lighten it up actually is just bring in a little bit of white, and how I'm going to do this is of course get all the excess water off the back of my hand, but I'm just going to use the paintbrush on the white and bring that into some of these parts just to lighten them up a little. It probably doesn't do that much. Unfortunately, it seems like it's not really changing the tone of the colour, so probably would have been better just going with plain white rather than the Fuchsia like I thought, because this is taking away all our light sources with the way that we've done it. Well, I guess you can kind of still see the light sources though, because we've got our dark violet there, I guess. So it's not like you can't see where the light sources go anyway, because we do have the dark violet, deep violet in there doing that, or showing those things, kind of thing. We do. So it's not like we don't have any shadows whatsoever, so we are still kind of getting our light sources out there, I guess. Yeah. No, I like that. That works. At least I think it works anyway. And yeah, I'm just brushing off the brush on the back of my hand to get rid of any excess water as I do it, kind of thing. Come in and put some water in that area. I will recommend working quickly though when you're doing this, because the Inktense dries so fast, and using such a little amount of water it's going to dry fast, but using so little is also going to prevent bleed through to our back page, shall we say, and the back image, which means then we won't have to deal with bleed through on those images. So that means that the images will still easily be able to be coloured differently, and you won't have bleed through poking through on those images. And notice this is smoothing out all this sort of spottiness from the where the pencil was laid down as well, which is a good thing. Oh, it looks like I've got dog hair caught in that one. So yeah, I think we're getting to the end of this time slot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video again, and then next time we'll come in, we'll finish our magenta areas in there. I don't know if we're going to need too much glazing over areas, but it will be good to do anyway. We may even colour some white in and lighten some areas up a bit more. But yeah, so I'm going to pause it here for a bit, and I will get back to you soon. So we're back. What we're going to do, we're just going to pretty much finish our Fuchsia 0700 on these petals, and then I think and do the water part, and then I think I'm going to leave it at that for tonight because it's getting late and I'm thinking shower and bed and that sort of thing. So I think I'm going to do these last few bits, and then once they're done, I'm going to leave it at that, and next time we'll come back to it. We'll probably continue with the other flowers and do the same thing we did with this flower, and also do the inside stems and the leaves and work those things out in the background. But right now we're going to work on just finishing what we've started, and then we're going to leave it at that, and we'll come back to the rest in the next part pretty much. I guess that's what I'm meaning. So yeah. But yeah, it's been good. I've been enjoying it. This pencil also kind of sticks to the page like the first purple did. It's like you can't get as deep a colour out of it by pressing on it, kind of thing. I don't know if that really makes sense, but it's almost like, yeah, as I was saying, some of these pencils seem to work better than others. They do. but at least they'll smooth out anyway once we put the water on them, so it all works out in the end. It does. And we're having fun in the process. Pretty! I really like it. I really like it. I really am considering like a bit of some type of sort of galaxy background with some of the similar colours as the roses in it for the background. I think that would be absolutely gorgeous to do something like that. I really like the idea. Yeah, I really like it. I really do. But once it comes to the background parts, I'll probably do what I do with the Joanna Basford tutorial possibly, and sort of do part of it and then do the other part to show you how to do it. I may not. We'll see how it goes at the time, I guess. But the Joanna Basford one, just because the backgrounds take so long, and it's like, I doubt you'd want to sit there through like 10, 12, well, it's more like 20 plus hours on the background so far, and I'm not even finished it yet. And so it's like, I doubt you really want to sit there watching 20 hours of me just doing the background shades. So probably what I'll do is with backgrounds, I'll probably just sort of, shall we say, do majority off camera and the part on cameras to show you how to do the background that was done in the video. And it'll be interesting playing with galaxy backgrounds with the Inktense pencils as well. Hee. Or I may even do some other mediums with the Inktense, I don't know, we'll see. But right now it is sort of an Inktense tutorial, so it'll probably be Inktense that I've chosen right now. But we shall see when the time comes to do that. Right now we've still got all our leaves and flowers and stems and little, I'm guessing this is like pollen or some sort of magic stuff coming off the flower to do yet. So yeah, just shift my paintbrush in that for a minute. Sorry, just 1 minute. Now we're coming up to that spine area, which basically what I'm going to do is just colour in the spots where I can, and then if I can, once I've got the Inktense with the water, I will push it further down into those spots. You can't really see the spots that are in the spine because of the way the book sits, so I guess it'll work out when the time comes. I guess it will. The other page you may be able to see some of the spots though when you sit it up. Yeah, a bit probably, but I guess you can always cover them over. I guess you can. There's always the opportunity to cover things over, I guess. If I could stop colouring on the other page, it would help. We've got a bit of our poppy red light shadows here, so don't do what I did and forget to actually put the shadows in. Partly why I chose the fuchsia over the white was just because we had such large spaces left, and so I thought it would be better to sort of have a bit of a purpley tone in there, because I like the thought of it pretty much. That's all it came down to, was that I like the thought of having the purpley tone in there. Nope. Okay, now it looks like we are up to our water. It does. As said, I just rub the thing in the water. You'll notice it's a bit stained pink. The Inktense seem to do that with the water. Then I rub it against the back of my hand to get any excess water off. And then we just come in with the colour into our little areas and wet those areas, kind of thing. And sometimes it might take multiple goes of working quickly to do like the larger areas, because you want to blend sort of some of the lighter colours in first or something before you do the dark, or you're working in multiple areas kind of thing and you want them to look blended. And it's pretty much all about just working fast with as light a brush as possible for doing the tones kind of thing. Like not as light a brush, I mean as dry a brush as possible. Like, you can still have some wetness on there, but I find you don't want it overly wet, or Inktense are definitely going to bleed through your page, and you don't really want them bleeding through with the image on the back kind of thing. Like, I wouldn't want to have the image in front bleeding through to my back image, and hence either being so bad I can't colour it, or pretty much still poking through the image once it is coloured, and that's not very fun to have happen. So yeah, I find better to work quickly, work light, and basically just don't go too hard on the textures kind of thing, or not too hard on the textures, but don't go too hard on the water. Try to keep it as light as possible. Like I'm doing here, I'm just very lightly, very quickly working over things, because also remember that Inktense does dry very fast. So you do need to work fast with it, particularly if you're doing light layers, not heavy layers. If you're doing heavy colours and you don't mind bleed through to the back image of your book, it's fine to keep going, shall we say. But yes. I just wanted to make sure that was properly done. Yeah, so basically you're just working through little sections, and quickly to get those sections worked in together before you need to dab your pencil again, and then it's quickly getting back to it. And which one was I on? It was this one. Here we go. You can tell which sections you've continued on to by the fact that it no longer shows those whitish sort of spots. They all sort of blend in with each other as you work through which areas are done. It's also trying to remember which areas you have or haven't put water on as well, because I have found areas later when I've been going back over with the second layer where it's actually been discovered that I haven't actually done those areas, so it is, shall we say, easy to miss little areas of things as you do it. So if you miss something and you find it later on, it's all good. Just go back and basically fill it in then. Pretty much all you can do. I think I am going to add in a bit more of that magenta purple into it though, or fuchsia purple. Oops, I've completely gone over that spot too. If you go completely over a spot, I guess pretty much there's not much you can do about it, so don't worry about it and just leave it covered, I guess, because there's nothing you can really do about it. Still need some water areas in here. Probably what I'll do at the end is actually use white gel pen on all those areas, so in the end really when we look at it probably really it's not going to matter too much. Like, yes, the white can show through, the white gel pen can show through the other colours kind of thing, but at the same time it is kind of like it does allow those areas to show up, so I think I'm going to do like a white gel pen on those areas, on those spots at the end kind of thing, towards the end. I think I am.
we're just pretty much just
blending in the colours with the purples. We're trying to do the light colours before start with the light colours with the blending, because otherwise the dark colours overtake them, kind of thing. So, and we're just trying to work little sections fast at a time and get everything sort of blended in together. We pretty much are. Bringing this in. Oh, it looks like we got a little bit of our purple there. We might even bring in that deep purple again with the next layer, I think, because that would be quite pretty to add in here. Get some more magenta, get some more fuchsia, I think it is in here, and some more of that deep purple and stuff like that. Quite pretty. I'm just going to finish this petal, then we shall pause for a bit, and then we shall come back with the next part pretty much, just because we're nearly to our 30 minutes again. But yeah, I love how it's coming out. I really love the idea of the galaxy background though. It's just, thinking about it makes me think that would be so cool, almost like an intergalactic rose garden kind of thing. Would be quite fun, I think. But yes, so I'm going to pause it here for a minute. I'll be back to continue finishing these other petals with the colours. You can tell the ones that you've done because they look so much deeper, so much richer from the water, because the water really pops that colour out. And yeah, so we'll be back shortly and we'll finish those off, and then we shall leave it at that. So I will see you in a minute. So I'm back. We're just going to continue finishing these leaf petals. This is the colour of our water currently. It's quite pretty. I actually like the colour, but it's yeah, that's pretty much every time I dip my paintbrush I wash out the Inktense colour so it doesn't, shall we say, overpower other areas. I find it better to wash the Inktense colour out, and that way we're sort of keeping our separate colour zones kind of thing. Just push a bit of that into there, and this is the spot where we're going to start also kind of, shall we say, pushing our colours into the spine where we can. So we're starting with like our magenta areas. We're probably not going to push it all the way in, but we'll push it part of the way in, just so if you're sitting with the book open, like you can't really see it at the minute, but if you're sitting with the book open or whatever, then you don't really notice it so much, shall we say. But yeah, I'm just trying to get rid of that excess sort of dark line there. I'm just going to look and check that nothing's bleeding through. No, that's good. Just try not to add on too many layers. If you when we do the double glazing, it'll be done when it's completely dry, because you better to have it dry so that you don't, like, even though the colour doesn't necessarily, shall we say, bleed together once it's once the back area is done and the background and stuff, and you can add other colours on top without having that issue too much. The thing is, doing it while it's still wet, it's still going to possibly cause bleed through because the background is still damp and wet, so it's still liable to, shall we say, cause some problems there, just because of the fact that being damp and wet just and making it more damp and wet basically gives it more opportunity to bleed through and have those sorts of things happen, shall we say. So I normally wait till it's completely dry before I do the second layer, but that should not take too long because of the fact that we are sort of working with quite a dry brush. It's still wet enough to obviously blend a little bit of an area, but you are dabbing off. Sorry about that. Yet again, I let the camera battery die. I am so awful at keeping track of that. I don't know how many times I've let it die on these videos. It's like I can't actually see kind of the flashing button from where I've got it held. I've got the back flipped up on it, but I can't see when the camera battery's flashing because it's going to die. So yeah, my apologies about that, and not to mention the fact I do kind of get lost in my colouring stuff, and so I don't even think about the fact the camera battery could die soon. Sometimes I remember. I will work at it anyway. I might just have to start changing it even when I don't need to, but I kind of am trying to get the most out of the camera batteries so that I can do the videos for as long as I need to be to finish a certain section or a certain part and that sort of thing. So yeah, apologies for that. I guess it's kind of what happens. So we're just sort of pushing some of those water areas a decent depth into the, shall we say, into the spine area. We're not worrying about necessarily filling to the ends of the picture, but we are kind of just pushing them in there. Sorry, you can't really see that easily with the camera kind of thing, but yeah, we're just pushing a bit of those colours into the spine, but not worrying necessarily about completely filling the spine. And I just went over another white spot after just thinking, oh, don't go over that one. But as I said, I'm just going to use white gel pen on those spots, so it's not like it's going to seriously affect it if you do go over one of those sorts of spot sort of areas like I just did again. Sometimes it's hard when you're doing watercolour too to keep those areas dry. I'll probably quickly do the white spots once we finish this bit here. My dog just winked her toy. I love it when she does that. So yeah, yeah, I seem to be just really bad with keeping, shall we say, a camera battery from dying, but it's so easy to get distracted when doing these, so yeah. I guess it happens to all of us. But yeah, so I wish there was a sort of a little sound the camera made or something when the camera battery was going to die that would warn you, because that way I'd know to pause. And it's fortunate though that I have been noticing when it dies, because it means we haven't really missed much. Basically all I did was finish off this one so we didn't have an obvious watermark between where the areas went kind of thing. So that's pretty much, you didn't really miss out on much at all by it happening. I just let you know that it died just for the fact that you know that I wasn't deliberately cutting something out or whatever. Another spot gone over. Oh well. But yeah, so from now on I might not say if the camera battery died, but if you see a spot, just sort of cut a little section off and I come back in. Well, I might let you know. Yeah, I'll just let you know if the camera battery dies. But yes, it is very easy to get lost in this stuff when I'm doing it because I really enjoy it so much. It's very easy. Yeah, it's not that I'm deliberately stopping it by the camera battery dying. But yes. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. We're just keeping on adding in the shades on our last few petals. We're just working kind of little patches at a time because of the fact that, well, yes, it kind of is, shall we say, working with a dryish brush, it doesn't allow you to do a huge area at once. But the fact of the matter is I would prefer to do little sections at a time and work fast to get everything blended, just due to the fact that then I don't have bleed through onto the back image. That's pretty much my preference. If you don't mind that, then feel free to add a lot more water, but also I find adding a lot more water does dull out the colours a lot more too. So yeah, it's personal preference and how you prefer to do it, I guess, in the end. I guess it is. Now we've just got to bring this down into these little, shall we say, unwatered areas, or little sort of shadowy areas between these. Flower proboscis, I think they're called. It's lucky that I went and put that camera battery on charge in my bedroom though, or else I wouldn't have been able to finish this last little bit now. So that's a good thing that I decided to do that. Really good thing. you go over those spots, as I said, just don't worry about it, just because we are going to add in some white gel pen on those spots shortly. We're just basically trying to get these blended in to look like they're actually blended before the colours dry, so that you don't have the obvious water line on it. Just going from your basically magenta into the red, into the dark shadows, and the deep violet, I think it is. So yeah, now we've done that, just let me go and I'm just gonna grab my white gel pen wherever it is. There it is. And now basically what we're gonna do with the white gel pen, this is a white Uniball Signo gel pen. I think it's 0.7 millimeters. And what we're doing, we're just basically colouring that over these spots. So you want to take out the sort of the black circle areas if you can. So it looks just like a sort of droplet. The areas on the outside yet, we're not going to worry about putting the white on the outside circles yet. Just on these ones inside the flower for now. Just need to clean that off. So yeah, just worry about the ones inside the flowers for now, not the ones outside of the flowers. And I'm kind of removing the majority of the black circle line on the outside, or all of it, depending on what you get. And I'm even going over the ones where we accidentally coloured over. Even if it changes their colour slightly, it doesn't hurt. What we'll still do with these, because we've got the gel pens, we're still going to put in our lad wrap on top of the image to try and protect the gel pen areas when we're colouring on them, kind of thing, when we're colouring other images in front of this one. If they don't turn out perfectly circular, it doesn't matter. Because you notice some of mine aren't perfectly circular. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the glad wrap if it was just the Inktense on the page, but because I'm putting the gel pen as well, that makes me, shall we say, try to protect it when I'm doing the other colours, because I notice the gel pen comes off very easily when you're colouring out the images on top, and typically you have to replace it again. But yeah, so this is our finished flower for now. We're going to leave it at this. If you like this, if you could please subscribe, like or comment, I would greatly appreciate it. And next time we'll probably continue either with the proboscis, or we'll do another flower. It'll just be, we'll see when the time comes as to which part we do. Or we may continue on this flower and just work out all the colours and stuff first and then continue with the other flowers. We shall see how it goes, and yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.